Thank you so much for having me, everybody. How many, okay, I'm gonna name some restaurants, and if you've been there, raise your hand. Atelier Corinne, Saison, Restaurant Meadowood. Oh, damn, girl, you're a foodie. Restaurant Meadowood, 11 Madison Park. Okay, great. If you raise your hand, you've eaten food made by my machine. So folks, a lot of you haven't heard of sous vide before, and I want to explain that to you. Sous vide literally translates to under vacuum in French. But the key thing about this type of cooking is precise temperature that it represents, that it cooks with. So most chemical reactions that you want in cooking happens below 100 degrees Celsius. We just go to very, very high temperatures to try to control it. Great example is Smith & Wollensky. They used to use these ovens that are, that get up to like 600 degrees Fahrenheit. And they would put their steaks in there for 4 minutes, and then it would come out perfectly medium rare. Now what they do is use my machine, put their food inside of a bag, and then put it in the water at 57 degrees Celsius. At that temperature, the fat and the collagen melt into the muscle, effectively marbling it and making it super, super juicy. So a strip of a New York strip steak can taste like Wagyu. And this is what this technology does. So I invented the home sous vide immersion circulator when I worked at Babbo, when I worked at Jean-Georges. I don't know if you guys know about the chef culture of staging and stagiaires. Okay, great, fabulous. So what it means for everyone else is that if you have worked underneath an accomplished chef, you can basically walk into any Michelin star restaurant you want to and say, I want to cook for you, I want to learn. And they say, come in and do it. So I would stage at all these restaurants, and all of them had this huge hulking piece of laboratory equipment. And I was saving up money to buy one. I told my date, now turned husband, baby daddy, co-founder, about it, and he has his PhD in plasma physics. He was like, hey, we could just make one. So that's what we did. We actually traveled across the United States. My background is as a maker. We traveled across the United States selling these DIY open source sous vide kits to the point where we were invited to the White House as honor makers by the Obama administration. And now we have this new machine. This is actually our third generation, which people don't even see yet, that I brought out special for the Internet of Everything and Sensors portion of, the theme of this talk. So this is an RFID tag that we have coded with exactly the time and temperature you should cook this packet of food. These are grits. So also encoded in here are exactly where the ingredients came from, the calories, and when you tap it with your machine, it tells you exactly what time you ate it. And all that information is encrypted within your Wi-Fi network on your cloud. So yes, it's very sophisticated, and it's like, what it does is that it personally lets you control exactly where your food comes from and have high visibility and maximum yumminess. We are food tech for people who love to eat. My job my entire life has been to eradicate every obstacle between you and a delicious plate of food. And now I can do it with sensors. So I just go up to my machine, just rip this off. Go up to my machine, tap it in front of the buttons, and it recognizes exactly the time and temperature it should be at, and I drop my food in. So everything that is usually cooked in here, so what this machine does is that it circulates the water and keeps it at a very precise temperature. Everything that you cook goes to a bag, and then you remove the air, you drop it in, and then you walk away. A lot of people are a little apprehensive about putting their food in bags. The thing about plastic bags is that they're not hard plastics. Hard plastics have plasticizers, which are very dangerous for you. These soft plastics don't even go above 100 degrees Celsius, so there's no leaching. And this method of cooking has been used for over 50 years. It's widely adopted industrially. And even Chipotle, $14 billion market cap, uses this. They sous vide all of their meats. It's actually, if you look at a recent Marketplace article, they've doubled down on sous vide so that they can have pasteurization and food safety. So they sous vide, they freeze it, and they ship it to their retail locations. Panera, $4 billion market cap, sous vides their proteins, freezes it, ships to the retail locations. What I do now is make these packets of food for folks and freeze them and then ship it to people in San Francisco. But mostly my revenue has come from the hardware devices. And today, we've reached $3 million in revenue from selling these devices, from home cooks to restaurants. These are some of our goals this year. So we have the hardware. We actually currently manufacture in the United States, and we're in our own office. We put each one together and then ship it. With our software, we're going to build an integration with our food program. And inside our food program, we just want to show that people buy repeatedly over and over again. There's around 10,000 people in San Francisco right now that own a sous vide machine. If we capture 10% of that audience to order 3 meals weekly, we make $20 million in recurring revenue annually. This is our current roadmap. We've launched our direct consumer food. It's here, and we've sold out. We launched it yesterday, half of it's gone. We ship it to people via Uber Rush. It's kind of like a Postmates thing, so you pay a little bit of a fee on top of it. It's $12 per person per meal. We are going to be in retail this Q4 with Williams-Sonoma with our cookbook. So I hope you guys will check that out. And then we're going to launch our food and retail side-by-side in Q1, Q2 of next year at strategic locations like Costco. Nomiku is food tech for people who love to eat. And when I made this company, all I wanted to do was to put, what's the opposite of personification? Technification myself into a technology. I wanted to make sure that everybody could cook food perfectly, regardless of their skill level. And then when I made my first classic machine, we shipped 8,000. And I went to probably 400 homes because everybody was like, can you help me use it? And eventually my husband was like, can you have dinner with us sometime? So we made an app. And I was like, if we make an app together that teaches people how to use it, then it'll be good. And then people finally asked me, hey, what are your favorite meals? And can you like cook it for me like you did that one time? And so now we do that too with goods. And this is what Nomiku is all about. As we grow, it will be a lot to do with, we will focus a lot more on the food sourcing side, especially with our partners. So what it would look like is that we become more of a pure tech company. We take all the data from like a Unilever or a Nestle, and then we're able to catalog them with code and then create different SKUs of RFID tags so that you can always just wave your food directly in front of the machine, not even bother to think about the science or anything, leave the hard part to us and then drop it inside the water and then walk away. It's like the food pod from the Jetsons, except instead of 50 years from now, it's right now, and it's the same technology that top chefs use. Thank you, guys.